Trespasser gets paid. That's what I believe. Yes, I believe that. I believe this trespasser is going to get paid, and I'm going to let you know why. My name is Byron Brown. I'm called the anti-lawyer lawyer. I don't sound like your average lawyer or maybe your grandpa's lawyer, so that's why I'm the anti-lawyer lawyer. But this is what I do for a living. I've collected millions of dollars for my clients, and I believe this trespasser who broke onto the field during Monday Night Football is going to get paid. And this is why. Okay, so if you trespass on someone's land in the state of California, then the owner of that property can use reasonable force to get you off the property. So the $64,000 question then is, did Bobby Wagner use reasonable force when tackling this trespasser on the field during a recent Monday Night Football? And so let's watch it. So this guy gets on the field. There's actually a female counterpart that also jumped on, but she got caught right away. This guy made it onto the field. He evaded a number of different security guards before getting put down by Bobby Wagner. So then the $64,000 question is, did Bobby Wagner use reasonable force in putting that young man down? Well, if you're that young man's lawyer, what you're going to argue is, Bobby Wagner is a very big guy. This guy was a small guy. So maybe if Bobby Wagner just hugged him and held him, he didn't have to viciously slam him to the ground. That guy's now saying that he had a concussion, and I'm sure he's going to come up with a bunch of different injuries related to that slam to the ground. Now, what's Bobby Wagner going to say? Well, Bobby Wagner is going to say, hey, listen, you ran to the field, you evaded multiple people, you had a smoke bomb in your hand, who knows what else you may have had on your person, and you kept evading people. So I used reasonable force. Now, reasonable minds can differ about what reasonable force is. So in this particular case, you got to think the venue. The venue is California. It's a very liberal state. So you're going to have, I think, a good amount of people that would say that the force used by Bobby Wagner was too much. If they say that he used too much force, if a jury decided that, then you could say that a jury would award him money. I don't think it's ever going to get that far, though, and this is why. I don't think the guy who was tackled to the ground by Bobby Wagner, I don't think his claim is worth much. So even if he lawyers up and that lawyer makes all of these arguments of, hey, he should have used reasonable force, Wagner, meaning Wagner should have used reasonable force, the size comparison, I mean, you can make some intelligent arguments that I think would lead someone to think that, hey, just pay this guy a bunch of money. Now, the money's not going to come out of Bobby Wagner's pocket. Probably maybe an insurance company for the LA Rams, depending on what sort of insurance the LA Rams may have. The LA Rams also might not want to make that mark against their insurance, that claim against their insurance. So they might just pay it themselves. And again, I don't think this young man's entitled to a lot of money. You got to look at his injuries. That's the basis for any injury. I know he's going to say he's got a concussion. Listen, it didn't look like he was unconscious when he was slammed to the ground. I'm sure it was uncomfortable. But with all being said, I think the young man may, if he makes a claim, so if he lawyers up, and if that lawyer makes a claim against the LA Rams and Bobby Wagner, because that's who I think you'd make your claim against, then I think maybe they just throw him a bunch of money to make him go away. What do I mean by a bunch of money? I think maybe they throw this guy $5 or $10 grand. I can't imagine ever that they pay him anything more than 20 grand. There's just nothing else there. Really, the basis of your injury really is the meat of the value of your claim. So a concussion, even if he says that he had one, it'd really be hard to prove unless he has a history of getting head exams, unless he has a history of never playing a sport and being able to prove that, nowhere else in his medical history does he have such a particular injury, which again, it could be easy to prove, but then even if he proves that he never had any head trauma before that, there's really hard to prove what damage the brain may have suffered. Even if he wants to say he was knocked unconscious for a minute, there's really no way to say he was exactly knocked unconscious. I mean, there's some tests maybe a neurologist could point to, but again, then the lawyer's going to have to pay that neurologist thousands of dollars. And whenever you're paying out thousands of dollars, you want to make sure that the value of the claim is there. So I don't think a lawyer's going to spend thousands of dollars. I think they're going to send a demand letter and say this young man got slammed to the ground by Bobby Wagner and it's worth, at the most $20,000, at the very least $5,000. That's my opinion. What do you think? I'll see you in the comments. Thanks.